across the UK, online, on DAB, and on your smart speaker. Talk Radio. Julia Hartley-Brewer at breakfast on Talk Radio.
Good morning to you. This is Talk Radio Breakfast with me, Julia Hartley-Brewer. Let's look at travel and what is going on. Lloyd Figgins is the Chief Executive of the Trip Group and joins for us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Good morning. Just so everyone knows, the TRIP Group, TRIP stands for Travel Risk and Incident Prevention. Now, people would just like to get the travel bit happening. First of all, we've got an extraordinary situation where we've, going back, extended lockdown, big question marks about the next review of due, we're told, on the 24th of June, although not guaranteed, for whether any countries will go onto the green list, more countries in the green list going onto the amber list, what restrictions are going to be allowed, whether or not we're going to be allowed, if we've had 2 jabs, to not quarantine. Meanwhile, we've got Ryanair and Manchester Airport suing the government over that traffic light system. We are in abject chaos, and it's just about a month before kids break up from school and the school holiday season begins.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, Julia, we've been using traffic light systems in travel risk management for decades now. And the key thing when you're using a traffic light system is it gives you the opportunity to be able to engineer and mitigate risk, taking you from one to the other. And that can go up as well as it can down. What we're currently seeing is that everything just is kind of remaining static, which would say to me as a risk management professional that the system isn't working or it's not fit for purpose. So therefore, we've got to have a look at a way of making it fit for purpose. And when we look at the rates of infections and the inoculation rates in some of the countries that are on the amber list, they're actually very good. In fact, our managing director spoke to people on a Greek island just recently where they have 0 cases of COVID. And this is a destination that's popular with British tourists, by the way, and they have an inoculated population. So if we were to have a look at the traditional methodology used by traffic light systems, by virtue of those data, then that particular island, and there are others, should most definitely be moved.
And that's it. There was a lot of hope, and this had happened last summer, that actually, our country might be taken off the list, but some of the islands like the Balearics for Spain and Azores, isn't it, for Portugal, and various Greek islands were on the approved list. In fact, last autumn, I managed to get away to Rose, which was on the approved list for a while. But this is it. The government's never made it public what the actual exact rules are. We know all the levels. It's about cases. It's about the direction of travel. So, it could be low cases, but if they're going up at a fast rate, then that doesn't, that counts against. And the jab rates, the number of people who are double jabbed. But we are in a bizarre situation that I can get in my car and drive through the Channel Tunnel or get on a plane and go to France, and indeed most of Europe right now, with my double jabs. And I'm allowed in without any inoculation. Without any isolation, or quarantine. But when I come back to Britain, of most of those countries, I would have to self-isolate for up to 10 days and spend hundreds on tests. It does seem to be quite bizarre, which when we right now actually have a higher rate of COVID cases, you'd think they wouldn't want us rather than the other way round.
No, absolutely. And, the whole purpose, is my understanding of getting people vaccinated, was that we could actually start going about our normal lives once again. So this, in many ways, makes a mockery of asking people to take the vaccine. The travel industry has really been hit harder than a lot of industries. And this is an opportunity really for the government to give the travel industry, it's within their gift to give the travel industry a leg up at the moment. And if you allow people who have been double vaccinated to travel, then by doing that, you're going to see that there is probably very little impact when they come back to this country, if any. And one of the ways that they could do that is allowing business travel to start immediately. For those people who have been inoculated twice, let those business people start going about their work again overseas and making sure that we can get the economy started. It would be a good test group in order to actually demonstrate that the vaccinations work and you can travel.
Well, indeed, but again, everyone knows the vaccinations work. That's why these other countries are we've got the data, they've got the data. That's why they're opening up, and particularly that transatlantic route, absolutely vital. We understand, of course, that it was Chris Whitty warning Dr. Fauci in America. Our case rates going up. That's a concern. I'm sorry, but a bunch of kids and teenagers and people in their early 20s who are perfectly healthy, not even a sniffle, testing positive when we've got 90+% protection, up to 96% for those who've been jabbed, and everyone who wants a jab over 50 has had their double jab. I'm sorry, I think it's absolutely absurd. The reality is, though, for the holiday industry, and again, there's tourism industry in this country as well, because it's all very well people saying, oh, this will boost this country's industry, tourism industry, because people are having to stay here. Well, I'm afraid, your average American or German coming over here will be spending a heck of a lot more than the average Brit. And actually, our tourism industry relies on those people being able to come here and not self-isolate first. And there are just so many aspects to the travel industry which aren't just about getting a week on a beach. They are about jobs, they're about livelihoods, they're about businesses, and they are the backbone of our economy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, I'm in Oxford. You go into Oxford now, it's usually full of tourists. I travel into London quite regularly. It's usually full. I was at Paddington Station the other day. It was like a ghost town. So yeah, we need to get this started. We need to get things for those who are protected. We've got to do it safely, Julia.
Yeah.
Let's make no bones about that. But we do have the risk mitigation factors in place through vaccination, through testing, in order that we can do this. And yes, it is a rocky point about the vaccinations and not allowing people to travel if they haven't been vaccinated. But we've got to look at this from the bigger picture of what this ban is doing to people, not only from an economical point of view, but also from a public health point of view.
Yeah, indeed. And again, you can mitigate all the issues in terms of double jabs just simply by making sure people get tested. I got no issue with the testing in and out of the country, no issue at all with that. But again, if UEFA officials and G7 officials can all manage to do it without self-isolating, I'm not quite sure why the rest of us can't. 8:44 is the time.